Hey, this is Tim. I'm the lead mechanic here at Bello Moto, and today we're just going to shoot a short video showing you all like what to look for before you ride. We've got this Rally 200 1976 here, and let's say we were going to take this out on a ride. What you'd want to check for before you left, just to make sure that the ride's going to be as enjoyable as it should be. First of all, with these auto lubrication bikes, you're going to want to make sure that you've got oil in your tank. There's a sight glass on these later bikes that basically this would be completely clear if you didn't have any more oil. But this one obviously has oil present. So this is the two-stroke oil that's auto lubricated in the motor as you ride the bike. So you don't really need to worry about ratios or anything like that. It mixes it automatically at 2%. So if we lift up the seat here, you can see where the oil tank, where you would fill this up. And then for this particular bike, you just fill this with normal, preferably supreme grade gasoline, and no additional mixing of oil, because this bike mixes the oil by itself. We've got another video where we talk about more about oil mixing ratios for the bikes that don't have auto lube, but this one does. So we've got oil, we've hopefully got gasoline. There's a couple ways you can check that. Like the best way on the old Vespas is actually to just unscrew the top here, just a little thumb screw, and just take a look in there and see what you've got. Looks like we've got like at least about half of this full, so about 2.6 gallons, I believe. So more than enough. These vintage Vespas tend to get 80, 90 miles to the gallon. So we've got quite a bit left there. So at that point, we should be what's on considered the main fuel tap. So you check your tap this way. This is the main tap, and this is the reserve tap. You'll see the R. So straight up for the main fuel supply. C is chiuso in Italian, or closed, and R is riservata, or reserve. So because we know that this has plenty of gas, we can leave it on the main tank. You also want to make sure that your choke is functional. It should come out and stay out when you pull it, and then retract easily when you push it back. Another thing to look for is that when your fuel tap is on, if your bike starts to leak gas out of the bottom or anything like that, that means you've probably got an issue either with the carburetor float being stuck or with the fuel tap itself being compromised in some way and starting to leak out of the bottom of the scooter. So that's something to keep in mind too. So I always try to like turn it on and just kind of take a look from below just to make sure that everything's as it should be, which it looks like it is. You also want to check your brakes, make sure that your brake cables are firm and you don't have a lot of play, either your front or your rear brake. And also, if you turn on the key on the bikes that do have batteries, you should see the brake light actuate with both the front and the rear, depending on the model. Most Vespa models definitely have a rear brake light switch, and some of the later ones from the 70s and 80s have a front brake light switch as well. As long as we've got the battery on, we might as well check for the horn function working, and the turn signals, which are operated by the battery. So we've got the left, up front and rear, and we've got the right. Okay, perfect. Also, in order to start the bike, most Vespa models will have a stop run switch right here. Just you want to make sure that that's on the run side of things, or you won't get any ignition when you kick the bike over. That's something to keep in mind. The headlights will not normally function until you start the bike. So we're not going to check that switch right now, but everything else seems like it's functioning as it should be. We have battery power. We'll turn that off. Obviously, you want to check tire pressure. I just checked these earlier, so I know that this is about 20 PSI for the front and about 30 for the rear. Those figures you can, depending on if you've got, two people riding it, maybe you can go up to 35, 36 in the back. 20, 22 in the front is what's recommended for most of the Vespa line. So this looks good. You know that the front brake is functioning well. You can kind of feel it. We're not seeing any dribbles or any kind of strange leaks with the fuel tap on. And at this point, we know that we've got everything that we need to ride this machine safely. Check the clutch real quick. Throttle. Everything seems as it should be, so this bike's ready to ride. Let's go have some fun.